It was a bitterly cold winter evening in New York City. The kind of night where the wind cuts through your coat and the streetlights glimmer like lonely stars. On a quiet corner near a busy subway entrance, a man sat huddled under a threadbare blanket. His clothes were worn, his shoes barely holding together, and in his hands, he clutched a small, crumpled paper bag. Inside was his only meal for the day, 2 sandwiches he had saved carefully, hoping they would last him until morning, but then, something caught his eye. A little girl, no older than 7, shivering in the wind with a thin jacket that had clearly seen better days, was staring at him. She was holding her mother's hand, but her eyes were locked on his paper bag. He could see the hunger there, the quiet, pleading hunger of a child who hadn't eaten properly in days. His stomach growled, but in that moment, he knew what he had to do. Before he could think twice, he broke one of the sandwiches in half and handed it to her. The little girl's eyes lit up with surprise, and she looked up at him, smiling through chattering teeth. "Thank you, mister," she whispered, barely audible over the wind. Her mother gave a small, embarrassed nod, and they walked off toward the warmth of their apartment building, leaving him with only half a sandwich to eat. It was then that he felt it, the emptiness in his belly and the pangs of doubt. He had given away his last food. What would he eat tonight? What would he do if he didn't find another meal? And yet, strangely, he didn't feel regret. He felt a warmth in his chest, a quiet glow that comes only when you've done something purely selfless. Before we dive deeper into this incredible story, take a moment to subscribe to Kindness Story Hub, give this video a thumbs up, and share your thoughts in the comments. Every act of kindness has a ripple effect, and here on our channel, we celebrate those moments that remind us of the beauty and humanity. His name was Tom, though most people on the streets just called him the man on 42nd Street. Tom had been homeless for nearly 5 years. He wasn't always on the streets. He had once had a job, a small apartment, and a life that felt stable. But life, as it often does, had other plans. One bad turn led to another, medical bills piled up, his job disappeared, and before he knew it, he was sitting on that cold sidewalk with nothing but a blanket and a few coins jingling in his pocket. Yet, despite everything, Tom had a heart that refused to harden. He believed in kindness, even when the world had shown him little in return. On that freezing evening, after sharing his last meal, he decided to keep walking. He wandered through the city streets, searching for warmth, a soup kitchen, or even a friendly face. As he rounded the corner onto 5th Avenue, something unusual caught his eye. A small café, usually closed at this hour, had its lights on, and inside, a middle-aged woman was cleaning up. She was singing softly, a tune that reminded Tom of Sunday mornings long ago. He hesitated at the door, unsure if he should ask for help. Asking had never been easy for him, but hunger has a way of pushing pride aside. "Excuse me," he said softly, unsure if she could hear him over the music. The woman looked up, startled, and saw Tom standing there in his tattered coat, eyes wide and cautious. Instead of turning him away, she smiled warmly. "Oh, you poor thing. Come in, come in. You must be freezing." Tom stepped inside, feeling a wave of warmth wash over him, both from the heater and from the woman's kindness. She handed him a cup of hot soup and a blanket to wrap around his shoulders. For the first time in days, Tom felt safe, seen, and cared for. He ate slowly, savoring each bite, and as he did, he noticed something else, a small poster on the cafe wall advertising a local shelter in need of volunteers. It was then that an idea sparked in Tom's mind. He realized that while he might be struggling, he could still give. He had a skill, a voice, and experience with the hardships of life. Maybe he could help someone else, just as the little girl had reminded him of the power of generosity. The next morning, Tom decided to visit the shelter. He had no money to donate, but he had time, energy, and an unwavering desire to make a difference. He spoke with the shelter manager, a kind man named Robert, who welcomed him with open arms. "We can always use an extra set of hands," Robert said. And sometimes, the people who've lived through hardship make the best mentors for those trying to find their way. Tom began volunteering, teaching other homeless individuals practical skills, sharing tips on navigating the city, and offering encouragement to anyone who felt hopeless. Word quickly spread about the man who had once been on the streets and was now helping others. He became a beacon of hope, a living reminder that kindness doesn't just change lives in an instant, it ripples outward in ways we can't always predict. Weeks later, something miraculous happened. One chilly afternoon, as Tom was distributing warm drinks at the shelter, a young couple approached him. They looked familiar, but it took a moment for him to place them. It was the little girl and her mother, the same ones he had shared his last sandwich with on that bitter winter night. "We wanted to find you," the mother said, tears in her eyes. "We don't know how to thank you properly. That sandwich, it meant the world to us. And we wanted to give you something in return." They handed Tom an envelope. Inside was a small check enough to cover a month's rent at a modest apartment, along with a note that read, "Your kindness gave our family hope. We hope this helps you find your own." Tom was speechless. He had given without expectation, never imagining that a single act could circle back to him in such a profound way. In that moment, he realized that kindness is not a transaction. It is not measured by what you receive in return but by the love and hope you plant in the hearts of others. That night, Tom moved into a small apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm, and it was his. He hung a picture of the city skyline on the wall, a reminder of the streets that had once been his home. But more importantly, he knew that life had given him a second chance, not just to survive, but to thrive and to continue spreading kindness wherever he went. Tom didn't stop there. He continued volunteering at the shelter, mentoring others, and sharing his story at community centers, schools, and local gatherings. People were inspired by his journey, from hunger and homelessness to hope and purpose. And every time someone asked him why he chose to share that last sandwich, he would smile softly and say, "Because kindness always comes back, in ways you can't predict." His story became a symbol in the city. A reminder that even in moments of despair, a small act of generosity can change lives, sometimes yours, sometimes someone else's, and often both. People began to look around more carefully, noticing those who were struggling, offering a helping hand, a warm meal, or even just a kind word. Tom's simple choice on that cold winter night sparked a chain reaction, a ripple effect that spread far beyond what he could have imagined. Even months later, whenever he walked past the corner where he had first met the little girl, he would pause and smile. He knew that moment had changed him forever. It reminded him that true wealth isn't measured by money or possessions, but by the capacity of your heart to care for others, even when it feels like you have nothing left to give. And so, the story of Tom, the homeless man who gave his last sandwich and received an unexpected miracle, lives on, not just in the city streets, but in the hearts of everyone who hears it. It reminds us all that kindness is never wasted. A small gesture, a simple act, can light up the darkest days and remind someone, or even yourself, that hope and love are always possible. As you go about your day, remember Tom. Remember the little girl, the warm soup, the miracle that followed an act of selflessness. Look around you. There are opportunities everywhere to be kind. A smile, a helping hand, or even a shared sandwich could spark a chain of miracles that you may never fully see, but they are real, and they matter. In a world that can feel harsh and unforgiving, kindness is the magic that changes lives. And sometimes, when we least expect it, it comes back to us in the most beautiful and unexpected ways. So, take a page from Tom's story. Give generously, love openly, and act with a heart full of compassion. You never know when a simple act of kindness could not only change someone else's life but also create a miracle in your own. because in the end, kindness is a gift that grows when shared, and it is the one thing that truly multiplies.